The first step to making one of my paintings is to come up with a concept. This painting I'm working on now is for the National Orange Show coming up. I start out with my basic concept dealing with oranges and did a rough sketch or pre-sketch, and then refined my sketch on a little bit bigger pad to begin with. Just basic concept and ideas roughed out quickly. I developed my concept more and decided to add in 3 vehicles along with the flying craft. So I, with my canvas, 36 by 48 canvas, with the plastic wrap still on it, I roughly sketch out my design and place my objects where I want them to go. And then once I've developed where I want them to go and their sizes, then I research the images further and make the images match the size on my computer screen or my drawings to go on the canvas as to what I've already drawn on the plastic. Just rough sketches on the plastic give me an idea as to placement of objects, my composition. I work it out while I'm still in this stage so that I know where everything's going to go and that my composition is going to work before I start putting it on the canvas and have to make major changes. My first object is this old pickup truck. I've got it traced off from a photograph from online that I extracted just the pickup out of and changed it around so it'll be a different piece of art. So I start out with the pickup, and it's the first piece of my composition. I did a light drawing, just very faint, of where I want to place my landscape in the background, my rows of trees. Just roughed in, just so I know where they go. Along with the ground in the foreground a little bit, where to place my other 2 trucks, and then basically made some changes before I drafted out my flying saucer and decided to put it higher. I now have all of my main objects on there, my flying saucer and my 3 trucks, a rough sketch of my background. Now I'll go about the task of designing my characters that I'm going to introduce into this scenario. Now that I've done all my pre-sketches for my characters and inserted them in my composition, I have a good idea of where I want to place things once I take off the saran wrap on the canvas. And then I can put my tracings right on the canvas and then trace them on one by one until I've got everything that I need to on there to start my painting. I'll zoom in for a little bit of a look of how it's put together. Trace my characters on separate pieces of paper, sometimes even on with the other items. It's good to have a good map of where you're going, so you don't have to do a lot of backtracking and extra painting. As you can see, I've got little alignment marks on my plastic, and what I'll do is I'll cut a little hole in the plastic and put those marks out right on my canvas. And then I've got the same marks for alignment on my pre-sketches and tracings. And that way I can take and align one mark on top of the other after I marked my canvas and put them right in the same place they were before I took my saran wrap off. So I'll take the saran wrap off now and put the pieces back in place. Now I've removed the saran wrap on the canvas and relocated and put my tracings back on. Now I'm ready to start the tracing process. Now that everything's aligned in my composition, I only have my foreground objects in there, my tracings, and no background. Now I'll put my objects in place and then do a loose drawing of where my background goes behind them, and then I'll be able to continue from there. I have now got all my images traced on, my background is drawn on, my mountains, where they're going to go, the trees, and now it's ready to start doing the painting aspect of this. I'll first block off the flying saucer. I have created a stencil to do that with. I took the flying saucer that I drew and designed and traced it on my painting, then I took it and put it on my tracing board here, put a piece of clear contact paper over it. Then I took and cut out the clear contact paper in the shape of the flying saucer. I will now transfer that onto my canvas so that it'll cover up the area where my drawing is for my flying saucer. That way I can take and use airbrushes to spray in the skies. This is the stencil that I cut, and now I'm going to put it on top of my canvas, on top of my flying saucer, so I can proceed with the airbrushing aspect. At this point, I've airbrushed in the sky along the tops of the mountains and on my highlights where it's going to be on the hoods and the tops of my vehicles, and also on the spacecraft. I took the cover off my flying saucer while I was shooting the sky in and did some highlighting and airbrushing on it. And then I stuck it out in the sun and let it dry a little bit while I ate lunch. Now I've covered it where the flying saucer is with the frisket that I had cut out for it. I'm now going to shoot on the rest of my sky with the ship covered up.
Oh my god, I don't even know what this is.
What? Let me see.
At this point in time, I've got the sky shot in, except for the stars and putting the moon in, and the mountains and the hills. Before I do the trees and the trucks, I'm now going to put the ground in, and then those other objects will be put in on top of that, working from the background forward. At this point, I've got the mountains, the hills, the trees, the dirt, and a little bit of the detail going on the crates and the people within the scene. We'll continue to work on the trucks and the ground and put the oranges on and work on the spaceship, and we're moving right along. So that's our progress at this point. At this point, I've started to put on the tires and work on the trucks and the characters within the painting.
Want me to get you some paper and crayon?
For the last several days, I've been painting all the detail in on all the craft, the trucks, and the ground, and all the characters, and airbrushed in my shadows and airbrushed in my highlights, And now I'm ready to put the hangers on it and give it a coat of liquid to protect it after I photograph it. I always photograph it first before I put the liquid on because it gets too glossy and hard to photograph without getting reflections. So I'm about to do that process now.